I'm Isaac Seevers, Superintendent of Lebanon City Schools. I want to welcome you to the Onward Lebanon show. This month, we'll have the opportunity to sit down with Jim VanDeGrift and Roy McCutcheon, two of my friends and longtime legends here in Lebanon City Schools. I called you a legend. You see that?
There you go.
And I want to talk to you a little bit about what's happening in the way of our Legacy Project. The Legacy Project was developed several years ago, a way for us to address our outdoor athletic facilities. We have great facilities when you look at our district in terms of the inside, our wrestling room, our gymnasiums, weight rooms, and in a lot of ways, our outside facilities, we were cramped on space. We're falling behind at times and a little bit in terms of the facilities we have available. So this is a concerted effort for us to look at how can we address our athletic facilities, how do we bring our community in and partner in this endeavor. And so we've begun to do some exciting work this spring. So if you drive around the district, you're going to see that we have several projects going on right now. I want to give you some highlights of those before we jump into what can you do as a community and what do we need to do going forward as a district. First, I want to start at Lebanon High School. At Lebanon High School, we've begun a turf project. Took the old youth football field, turned it into a lacrosse and soccer stadium for our school programs. And as of right now, we're finishing up the turf installation. It's exciting. There's been a lot of great work that's taking place out there. The folks from the Moats Group have been involved, and I want to thank the Moats Group, the partnership with the Burns family throughout that project. And they are getting close to putting down the rubber pellets. So if you know anything about turf, the turf is down, the rubber's getting ready to go down, and our goal is in the next 3 weeks to be able to host a home lacrosse stadium game. And so that facility is going to be used for the home to Lebanon lacrosse, which will get them off the field down here with the track and the football stadium, give them their own space for practices every day, give them their own space for games, will alleviate some of the burden. And so we're really excited about the partnership that we've had so far with the Lebanon Athletic Boosters. Thanks for their contributions to this. Lebanon Youth Football, which will continue to use the facility on the weekends for their games. They've been great in partnering with us so far, purchasing the new goalposts and things in that facility that have been contributions for them over time. And then the Lebanon, the Warren County Soccer Foundation. So it's a group that kind of ceased to exist. They had this money. They said, we want to put it forward towards a project that would serve our community, that would serve the kids who have been a part of Warren County Youth Soccer, that most likely were raising some of those funds over the years. So they gave a significant contribution to us to get that project done at Lebanon High School. And so if you have an opportunity, I would encourage you to go to the LebanonLegacyProject.com and you can see photos from the updates. I don't know if either one of you guys have been able to see those, but we posted some photos last week and great work that's happening there. One thing I want to note is that in all of our community mailboxes this week, in everybody's home, you should have received a postcard. That postcard on one side introduced kindergarten registration, which is an exciting time for us academically, what's going on, but also on the back side, the Legacy Project. Follow the QR code, read the updates. It talks about how we're paying for the project, what the first phase is happening right now, and gives you some insight into what we're doing in this work. The second thing, project that's happening right now is happening down the hill here from us at VanDeGrift Stadium. And VanDeGrift Stadium will be the home of our football team going forward and our track and field. If you go by today, you're going to realize there's no home bleachers. It's kind of a weird thing to go out there and see there's nothing there anymore. And so we're in the midst of the demolition phase of this. And I want to thank Mike Gliotti and Express Delivery Services. Mike coordinated the work with the crane, the rigging outfit. We saved the previous press box to be used for a future use in our district. So Mike and his trucking company came in and hauled that away for us at no cost to the district. So thanks, Mike and Express Delivery. I also want to note that as a district, we've been looking for ways to do this economically. How can we save money along the way, partner with different people? We worked with a group out of Northwest Ohio called All Demolition, and All Demolition owns a racetrack, a dirt racetrack in Northwest Ohio, and they called us. They said, we would be willing to come down, demolish your bleachers, take them out of there, return things back to what you need in terms of your new project, and we'll do it at no cost to the district. All we want is the bleachers when we're done. So we're getting updates now from Northwest Ohio where the bleachers that were down there are being repurposed for a dirt track in Northwest Ohio. We're going to plan a trip up there if you guys want to go watch some dirt track racing soon. But that was a $75,000 savings to the district. We had some demolition contractors come in and take a look at it, and so we were able to do that at zero cost to the district, but also a savings as well. We're replacing those home bleachers with 3,500 seat new bleachers. They're going to have handicap accessibility, ramps, proper egress, handrails on all the stairs, and a brand new press box that can be about 3 times the size of our current press box. It's going to look impressive. It's going to be up to date and current, but it addresses several significant needs for us. Why are we doing this work right now to begin with? We felt like the bleachers that were out there were nearing the end of their useful life. There was some safety concerns about how the foundations and things were performing, but also they didn't have handrails. There was no handicap seating. It really made for some accessibility issues for people coming to games. And so these new bleachers are going to do, I think, some great work and contribute to the atmosphere at the stadium. So would encourage you to go online, take a look at what's happening, and see what's happening in this initial phase. I want to jump into talking to these two guys that have joined me today, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what's next for us as we go forward. So I'm happy to be joined today by Mr. Jim VanDeGrift. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Welcome, and I'm glad I'm here. Glad you made me a part of it.
I appreciate you being a part of this, and we'll get back to you here in a moment with some questions. And then also board member, alum, and business owner in town, Roy McCutcheon. Thanks for being here, Roy.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate these two guys and what they mean to our school district, the relationship I've been able to establish with them over the last 3 years. And we just want to have a conversation, right? What is it about this project that excites you? Why are you willing and happy to be a part of it? And then also, what do you think it means for us as a district? So, Coach, I know you fairly well by this point in time, but maybe not everybody does. Can you just give us a little bit of history of your connection to the district and what do you think is special about Lebanon schools?
Well, we started, the Board of Education hired me in 1967 to come to Warren County in Lebanon to be a football coach, and I appreciate that because it worked out, because I was able to see my kids and grandkids come through Lebanon High School, and several chances to move, but every time I go to move, most of the time the kids would say, no, Dad, we're staying here, and the grandkids saying the same thing. Lebanon's a special place. I've been around for between 55 and 60 years, and see it starting to develop. We fell behind with our facilities, outdoor facilities, for some time there, but then in 2006 we decided that we needed to get started and catch up, so to speak, of where many of the other schools in the area had surpassed us and sort of updated. We fell behind, but started out with the all-weather turf down there, and I believe that was in 2006, and then soon after that, we were booming. It was going to go, and we had plans for the entire thing, but everyone knows what happened in 2008, and the money went away from many areas and so on. So recently then, there's been a rejuvenation in the Board of Education, the boosters, and people in the community have stepped up along with that. And we're going to see a lot more of that coming, because people have to step up if this is going to be reality, but it's on its way, and Isaac, I don't think it's going to stop here.
I thought about that a lot recently, Coach. When you and I first sat down to talk about this, a year and a half, 2 years ago, you guys told us you started this work in 2006, 2007. And so I think about that 17 years later, we're seeing some of the initial phases and thoughts around that come to fruition. I was looking at your plan you brought in earlier today to talk about home bleachers were a part of that.
Yes, indeed.
And so for the last 17 years, we got the turf field, but we didn't do anything outside of that, the track and field.
Just a Band-Aid here and there.
Yeah, and so this was a concerted effort by our Board of Education to say we need to do some work down there. So I want to thank you for the group of guys and ladies that you put together clear back in 2006. Because of that, we have some of this legwork started and a foundation, and so Thanks for that vision. Also, thanks for your service to Lebanon schools. We'll get back to that field down the hills named after you. We'll talk a little bit about maybe a special memory down there before we go about something from your time here as a football coach. So I want to go over to Mr. McCutcheon. Roy, talk to us a little bit about your connection to Lebanon City Schools and maybe something you like about the district.
About the district, very good. So my family, my dad retired from the Army in 1972, and we came back to Lebanon. He was stationed here from 66 and 67. So I was in second grade. So I went from second grade, graduated in 1983, went to Ohio State and lived a year in Indiana and 5 years in Illinois. Had a good job and owned my own home, was very happy in Illinois. Then I had a son. And after he was about 2 years old, I started thinking, I don't want my son to go to school here. I wanted to get back to Lebanon. And, at the time, that thought had never occurred to me. But once I started thinking about schools and where he was going to go to school, Lebanon City Schools really pulled me back. So that's actually why I came back. I started looking for a job, and an opportunity presented itself for me to buy a business. So people think I came back to buy the business. That's not. I came back to put my son through Lebanon City Schools. As a business owner, one of my core fundamental principles is always supporting the schools. So we have always done fundraisers and donations. I had a rule: if the school calls, the answer is yes. So years ago, we started doing fundraisers with Louisa Wright to do playground equipment. I think probably for the last 29 years, we've done 2 different fundraisers with some organization in the school. So very lucky, my son went through K through 12, played a lot of sports, and in looking back, never had a bad teacher. So it was a real smart move to get my family back to Lebanon.
That's great. I love the interaction between you guys. I get to see it a lot. He still calls you coach.
Well, he was a player.
He was a player of yours, right? And there's a level of respect there. Any good Roy McCutcheon stories you want to share real quick?
Not on camera.
Okay. How about any good Coach VanDeGrift stories? You know anything?
No, we
Not
want
on
nothing
camera?
on camera.
Okay.
No.
Good.
So,
Well,
but Coach V was my driving instructor when you played football at Lebanon High School. Coach VanDeGrift became your counselor, which, gosh, how lucky was that? Eventually, when I bought a house in Lebanon, he was my neighbor. So when my son is running track in high school, my coach, someone that I admired, was there with the starting pistol. So, it's this generational thing where, as a parent, you always worry about your kids, but, there's, Coach V standing right next to him, and it's just...
It's great.
Yeah.
I've shared this a couple of times. We moved here 3 years ago for me to become the superintendent. And one of the things I am most excited about in being here as a leader is my kids get to go to school here as well. And so it's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place for kids to go to school. And I think it speaks volumes that people like you come here and stay. Or come back. And what we're trying to do as a part of this legacy project, we could have given it any name we wanted to give it, right? Onward Lebanon, give us your money, we need a new field. We could have named it anything we wanted to name it. We chose the legacy project because we thought that one of the things that was extremely important to the people of our community was that they had an opportunity to leave a legacy here, right? That we had a chance to say, I was a part of that. And I think it's really important that we get this accomplished. One of the things that we have talked about, several times is really the leadership that takes to get this thing across the finish line. And so, it was one of the things they talked to me about when I interviewed for this position is, what are we going to do about the football stadium, and how are we going to get those bleachers updated? And we began to have those conversations. But I wanted to ask you, Roy, as a board member now for the last 2 years, you came in and we were starting this project, beginning this. Can you speak just to maybe the commitment of the Board of Education to seeing this through at this point in time, or what it means to our district from that standpoint.
Sure. So in January, after I was sworn in 2022, the first email, that's what I was doing earlier, was looking at my old emails. The first email I sent Superintendent Seevers was, what are we going to do about the stadium? Let's get going. It was old, it was dangerous, it doesn't look good. And as Coach mentioned earlier, our outdoor facilities really needed a lot of attention. So that was very, very important to me. But I was very impressed about a year and a half ago. Our athletic director, Keith Pantling, gave a presentation to the board about what those plans were going to be. And I knew it was important to me. I knew it was important to Board President Mike Lane, but I didn't know how the other board members felt about it. And it was great to see Mrs. Dalton and Mrs. Cope and Esther Larson. After Keith's presentation, all three of them were 100% behind the project, that this needs to be done, this is important, and you have our full support moving forward. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
That was one of them. I was just so proud sitting there thinking, wow, we're heading in the right direction.
My first Rotary meeting, I was sitting uptown with a group of gentlemen and ladies at the Golden Lamb. At the end of the meeting, I was talking about the state of the schools, right? Our academic report card, what we're doing, how things are going in the district. And a gentleman by the name of Jack Hedges raises his hand at the end of the phone call, at the end of the conversation, and says, "Mr. Seevers, what are we doing about that stadium?" I said, "Jack, we're working on it." And was happy several months ago to stand up in front of that same Rotary group and talk to them about we've gotten to the place now where we are beginning to do the work. And the next phase of this is to share maybe how our community can be involved. So one of the questions we've received a lot over the last couple of years is, how are we paying for this? Right? What are we not paying for so we can get this done, or how's this working? So as a district, we've begun by doing some of those partnerships with the athletic boosters, with the youth soccer organization, looking for ways that organizations can help sponsor that. But the other part of it is, we believe it's important as a district, if we're going to put people in bleachers, that those bleachers are safe, they're accessible. We think that's just the cost of doing business when it comes to running a program. So the district is committed to pay for the bleacher repair up front. And that will be paid out over time based off some revenue that we're going to be receiving from Miami Valley Gaming. So a tax incentive payment that will begin to come in, that will be enough to make those payments every year for the next several years on a loan that we took out for that. So we're not taking that money away from a classroom. We're not asking the community for any more money at this point in time to do that project. We believe it's important for us to do, and that's how we're choosing to use those payments from the casino going forward. The other part of that is, we need to begin to look at the next phase. So phase one is home bleacher repair at the stadium and the turf project at Lebanon High School. We need to talk about phase two. And so phase two would be new restrooms, new concession stands, and locker rooms at VanDeGrift Stadium. We need to update the amount of facilities down there when it comes to restrooms and locker room space for our community, and new concession stands. And so that's the next phase. But we've got to get some money raised for that phase, and that's where we're going to need the support of our community. That's where we're going to need the support of our businesses. So currently what we're out doing right now is we're looking to get some anchor donations. We're beginning to work with a group called Power Ad and Bob Westerfield. And Bob's going around to businesses to look at some big contributions for people that are looking to leave a legacy, to name a facility after their family, their business, whatever that may be, over a commitment of time. And we can get that anchor stuff started, and also looking to our local businesses that may want some partnership in that as well, or families. And so the legacy project is, you're going to have an opportunity as a community. I'm going to have an opportunity as an employee and a community member to get on board with this project. And so we ask you to visit the Legacy Project website, the QR code on the back of the postcard at your house. There's information on our district website to see how you can support the project. Overall, we're looking at a $13 to $15 million project over a period of time. The first phase of this is around $3 million. So we've got those things started, and we're looking at what's it going to take to get to the next step of this. So we hope that you will be interested in partnering with us as a district. They'll be interested in looking at some of that work. I guess, Jim, to ask you the question here would be, when you think about legacy, right? Think about the legacy project. Why do you think this work is important to our district in terms of getting the next phase of this done, or community involvement?
Well, it's like anything else in business. You have to have something that people want to cluster to and be a part of, and we'll have that. And as well as I do, our indoor facilities are in great shape, and our outdoor facilities, as they develop, we're going to find people coming to ball games and competitions that we haven't seen in a long time, because we have something to offer. But at the same token, it has to start from down. We're going to start from community first, the community we have. It's a good place to live, or you wouldn't be watching this and you wouldn't be involved in it. And then we have to have, of course, our Board of Education, our administration, our athletic department, all that put together, find out what we really want to do, and not really where we've been, but where we want to go with this situation. I heard you say one thing about getting that goal. There's not a goal here. This is going to be a continuous thing, part by part by part. But we've started now, and all we got to do is keep this momentum going. Don't let it die out. Our economy in our country's good, in Ohio's good, and Southwestern Ohio's good. Join the crowd.
That's awesome. From your perspective as a board member, and the commitment to this going forward, what do you think about, or maybe as a business owner, either one of those things, the Legacy Project, why is this work important to us as a district in the future of our school district?
Well, I think the schools are one of the few remaining public entities that we have. That field is all of our fields. These buildings are our buildings. Not just the sports, but the band, the cheerleaders, every group that uses the fields and the facilities when visiting families come in, they get an impression of our community when they walk in our stadium or our high school. And for a lot of people, that's the first impression of Lebanon. And we do, the downtown and the merchants, we try very hard to always present a good look, because we do rely on people coming from out of town to spend some money. But there's just so much opportunity that we're losing because we don't have the best facilities. As far as a legacy, in 30 years, no one's going to remember me. They're not going to remember Mr. Seevers. They're not going to remember Coach V. But they're going to remember what we leave behind. We can't take it with us. I always have felt that when my time is done in this community, the only thing I really want anyone to remember me for is trying to make the community better, to have a positive impact. And the work we do now is, 40 years from now, kids are still going to be using that facility. And that's what excites me, is what we leave behind.
So one of the things, as we go to wrap this up, I want to just talk about, I've really enjoyed as a part of this project, seeing some of the things that make this place a special place. So if you look at our promotional materials, you see the football stadium here on 160 Miller Road. It's the same location it was when you came here in 1967, probably, right?
We had 2 years down at old J.C. Vine Field, down where Barry is right now. 2 years there, then the new facilities here in 1970, I believe, is the first year we played up here.
So we think about that, right? That's 54 years at this field, and not much has changed down there in terms of the location and a lot of the things that are there. It is a lasting legacy, right? It is a lasting legacy and an impact, and the number of people that come and say, I played on that field. That was my home. And what we're trying to capture in this is those people that have a connection to this district, that bleed maroon. I have more maroon things now than I ever thought I would own when I moved here. Didn't own a single piece of maroon clothing. Now it's all I have. This is a special place, and this is a special program. And I'm thankful to get the opportunity to lead this district. And so as we kind of wrap up our time here, one of the things we talk about in our district, it's a mission of ours. It's on the sign behind me, is building community. As we talk about building community, this is an excellent opportunity for the district and the school community, the partnership with the businesses. How can we provide opportunities for us to collaborate, to bring these things together, to provide for our students top-notch educational opportunities, athletic opportunities, and excellent opportunities on what we call the front porch of our district. When you drive into Lebanon and you want to see what Lebanon City Schools is about, you're coming to Miller Road. You're going to be here for the first time, maybe in our community for a Friday night football game or a track meet or something. We want to make sure we put our best foot forward. And so if you have any interest in learning more about the Legacy Project, I would encourage you to go to our website or call the office and set up a time to talk to me. If you're a local business owner that would like to get involved with this, or family members that would like to get involved with this, reach out and set up a time to meet with me. We would love to talk to you about the Legacy Project. We hope that you'll be interested and excited about this as we continue to our next phases. I guess the last thing I would say, gentlemen, is onward Lebanon.
Onward,
Onward Lebanon.
There we go.
Yep.